Okay, how's it guys? Doing a video today on Nissan np200. This is also known as Dacia, something with a D, Dacia Dancia, something overseas. So yeah, Renault vehicle. We're doing a clutch bleed on this one, and I've seen there are some videos saying how to do it, but not a lot of videos showing you basically how it actually works. So long story short, this little clip here presses in. You don't take this guy out, right? And then it opens up a bleeder valve here, and also it is easy to work from the bottom. So you've got a little clear tube over there, right? Got that on there, and this basically clips in like that. Now it's really hard to get it off with on hand, but you basically wiggle, and then it clips back to the position that it was. It's just really difficult to do with one hand, so I'm just gonna use my second hand and just get that clipped out. Okay, so we're at the second clip. Notice the spacing here, how much space is in between there, and here's your little clip there. If you follow this in, you're just going to clip it back in. So what I do is I press down this clip with the one hand, and with the second one I hold it over here. Then I just basically use this, there's leverage with my thumb, and just push it in and out and in and out, kind of like you do an electrical plug, and then just clips right out. Now, important not to force it. Don't force it because you're going to break it. This is plastic. And that, okay, so then after you're done, you basically open the airway. There's no bleed screw on these things, so you have to do it the hard way. You saw probably a nice little bubble float to the top there, and see, look at the bubbles floating through there. So basically what's happening now is we've openly fed the from the master cylinder, or the brake fluid reservoir, through to the master cylinder, down this line, and then that's just gonna seep out the bubbles through that section there. So we're just going to pause here and go back up top, and I'm going to show you guys what I'm going to do. So basically here at the top of the reservoir, I actually need to top this thing up because it's running a little bit low. Okay, and we're just going to top this guy up, because now what we've done is we've actually opened the line from the top all the way down to the bottom, and then it's going to top that up. Let all the bubbles come through. You want to get all of that air out. Brake fluid's normal .4, nothing fancy. No particular brand that I prefer. Right, and over here, if you're doing your master cylinder, the master cylinder's over here, slides into that breather, goes all the way down there. And this guy, I wonder if I can show that to you guys. If you basically just twist it like that, see there? Now the master cylinder is loose. You can even take this thing out if you wanted to do that, but we're not going to do that. Going to create a whole lot of work for myself, and you just rotate it back up, and that's in place. No fastness, nothing, just something like that. Then also you've got a little clip here, a little clippy there. Make sure that's in. That's the top of the line, and it runs all the way around the back, all the way. What's this one? Yeah, that one there. See, the black one, right there, and then it connects there. So I can just focus on that, and then from there it goes to the bottom piece. Now it has a piece of rubber. You can't remove the battery terminal, so we're gonna have to do it the sneaky way. See there, there's your little pipe there, and that basically connects up, and those pipes like to fail, so we actually had to get that fixed, and that's what's been causing our issue. We did the slave cylinder as well, concentric slave. So we've got to bleed the whole thing out. Now I think we've already done the slave, so we're not going to worry too much about that now. So here we're just going to monitor our fluid level. Just keep in mind we've got that feed going up on the side. This is still good. Now we're going to go onto the other side. Okay, so as you can see here, that fluid's rising quite a bit. So I'm going to do my thing, and I'm going to hook up my vacuum pump to this guy, and we're going to do that. Okay, so basically what we got going here, this is a vacuum pump. Got a little vacuum gauge there. The focus on this thing is horrible. Here we go, a little vacuum gauge there, running there to the slave cylinder. And now watch what happens when I start activating the cylinder. Watch what happens to the fluid. See all those bubbles coming out? Vacuum lines. Gonna pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. And then while that runs, we're going to check over here. That's going to get this the right way around. We don't want that sucking into our chamber. Fluid level still looks good. This side we did overfill it, and we're going to carry on this side. Check all that air coming out. Little vacuum gauge. Vacuum still sitting there. We're going to hold it nicely and watch it drop down. And you know the air is out when it no longer starts dropping down. So you see all that air bubbles coming out of there. Right, we're going to check fluid reservoir. We're going to top up our levels here again. And carry on that way. Getting all the bubbles out. Checking here. Right. Getting that vacuum gauge going. So this is the easy way to do it, guys. They do say that you should open up the thing, let it vent to atmosphere, pump it, pump it, pump it, pump it. But that just takes really, really long. So let's say you don't have a vacuum pump. I've got to check here because this reservoir is filling up. So I want that too full, otherwise it's going to start sucking this brake fluid into my vacuum. I don't want that. Right. So now with this thing sort of full, we're going to open up this reservoir and we're going to dump this brake fluid back into the reservoir, and then we're going to carry on doing this. Okay, so we've cleared out this fluid here, and we're going to carry on creating that vacuum. There, see, bubbles were coming out. All the bubbles. All of them bubbles. Checking our fluid reservoir. Now the thing is, because we've kind of getting a lot of fluid coming through here now, we're no longer going to top up the one on this side, because we're basically going to use that container to fill up there. So we basically got a closed loop forming of our fluid. Just as it comes out, we just put it back in. Pretty sure there might be other ways to do it. This is the way I found to do it, and it's working rather well. There's a lot of air in the system. Okay, so we're just going to bleed this out for a bit, and then I shall carry on once we got all the air out. Okay, so now we are here. Now notice we got a bit of an airlock there. Right, I spoke too soon. Let me just do that again. But you saw that the gauge kind of held pressure or held vacuum there for a second. So we're just gonna carry on doing this. It almost had full vacuum there. Basically, the gauge is gonna stop and it's gonna hold that vacuum in place, and then we'll be able to create a sort of a airlock, which then we're going to use to bleed the pedal. Okay, so here's basically what I want to show you guys. It's slowly starting to focus up. Still got a little bit of vacuum there, but notice your fluid is still dropping as there is vacuum here. So that's basically what I wanted to show you guys. So as it's basically still sucking in, you got a vacuum that's holding up, and then it's gonna, let me just see if I can just get that on action quickly. And top this up a little bit here just for demonstrative purpose. Spilled. Made a spill. I gotta clean that up, damn it. And then we're gonna create a vacuum. Now notice it's kind of holding the vacuum, right? That means the air is slowly becoming less and less. See how much air there was before? Now there's nothing coming out there. So yeah, I'm just gonna watch our fluids there and just keep topping it up as is, because we don't want to suck in air here again. So I'm trying to multitask, and men are not very good at that. Also making sure that you don't get brake fluid or anything. You don't want it on the paintwork or anything. You want to keep it nice and clean. And you see our air pressure is basically going down to almost nothing. So we're just gonna top this up again. Last time. I'm not looking at the camera, I'm just looking where the level is. I don't want to spill again. So I've got to clean that out now with some heavy duty cleaner, just to be safe. Okay, and now we're going to go on the... Okay, so we're back on the inside now. Now we're just going to pump this pedal. We're going to pump it, and pump it, and pump it. Switching feet to the other side, pumping it still, and then back to the other side. Lots of pumping and pumping for a long ass time. I feel there's slowly a little bit of pressure coming up there, but not really all that much. You won't really feel the big pressure when you're doing this. Okay, so that's probably about 2 2-3 minutes of pumping. Right, we're just going to check the levels. Alright, our level's looking a little bit low. I just want to look at my gauge here. And keep in mind we were running vacuum, so that sucked up all the brake fluid. Let me just empty this out. I just want to show you guys, look how much air bubbles are still inside of that liquid. If I can focus on that better. Those are all tiny little air bubbles. Because remember, when you basically decrease the pressure, you decrease the boiling point as well of any liquid. So all the tiny air bubbles that are like in the liquid are coming out now. So we're just going to basically first, I'm not going to try to do this while filming again. Let me just get this done. Yeah, I don't want any more spills. Brake fluid is really destructive against all forms of artwork. As you see, guys, you just see what my phone cover looks like. Okay, we're going to apply a bit of vacuum this side. Get a bit of vacuum going there. And not really a lot of air bubbles, but they're really coming down. Not a lot still left. And I think this might be the last ones. I'm just going to check our level here again. Now see how quickly it drops. So you really want to pay attention when you're doing these things. So you don't get air back in the system. So I would like overfill it, and then once it's good, and I've got no more air coming out that side. It looks like that's the last. So I can just get that vacuum up a bit higher. There's some air there. Still some air bubbles there. Checking this side. And yeah, just bleed the air out. So I'm just going to basically carry on doing this procedure. Wow, the focus on the thing is horrible. So I'm going to carry on doing this procedure until we have finished bleeding this. And I shall get back to you guys. Okay guys, so we got no more fluid flow or air bubbles coming through there. Pressure's holding and our levels more or less where it should be. And yeah, so we're going to pause this here for now. Right? And we're going to carry on stepping on that pedal, ensuring that all the liquids and fluids and everything are out, and then we're going to give it a test. And pump, pump your clutch pedal. Right, so we're still pumping. It's been about 5 minutes now. 10 leg switches. That's what I do. Like I pump till my leg gets tired, then I do the other one till that leg gets tired, and that's one leg switch. Right. So we're going to pause this now quickly. And we're going to check our fluid level, which seems a little bit on the low side. Just going to touch it up a little bit, more or less to the level where it should be. And then we're back down here. Going to clip this thing back in. Clip. And just like magic, your clutch pedal's working. I think it's really an old way of doing things. I still feel there's still a little bit of air in there. A little bit bouncy, so I'm just going to redo that bleed process. It feels pretty good actually, and we're gonna that feels actually quite solid. Right, and then we're gonna give it a test. So it's probably taking me about 20 minutes now. Okay guys, sorry with the bad focus. So just to recap, we started here, we topped up our fluids. Well, actually, what we should have done first, like we should have checked for leaks on this line here. That little connector over there, no one right there. And then check for the pipe there, the rubber section, to not have any leaks. And then the connection there, we push in the clip. And with the other hand, we just pull it back. Give it a wiggle. You don't want to be too wild with it. You might break it. Be careful of that. And then we've opened that bleeding valve. Now there's no screw, there's no nut, there's no bolt, nothing. We just squeeze the hose onto it and we're ready to go. Clear tube connected up to the little reservoir here, and then connected to the vacuum. Now if you don't have one of these, right, I'm going to show you a little trick that I figured out. So looking on the other side of the engine, we'll see right about there. See this line here? It goes into the intake manifold right about there. Right, this is a vacuum line that runs to your brakes. So if you're stationary, you got the handbrake up, you can actually start the engine, run a pipe from here into a container, which would be the same as here, which will then create a vacuum, and then you could connect the other tube, like just like a cold drink bottle or something, just like make a hole on the one side, make a hole on the other side. The fluid is going to get sucked up, blown in there, and then make sure nothing gets sucked up in this other one. And then that is like a little hack to do it. If you don't have like a vacuum pump or a vacuum gauge or vacuum something, and you can just do that to get the air out. Like this whole project took me about 20 minutes, a little longer than the time of this video. And yeah, she's ready to rock and roll now. We're gonna take off all the stuff, clean off all the brake fluid. Probably have to steam clean this thing now because I messed up brake fluid all over the place. And then yeah, we're gonna give it a ride, and that's basically all there is to it. So if you guys do a master cylinder swap, you can do it this way. If you guys are doing a line replacement, if you need to bleed the clutch, this is a good way to do it. Obviously you don't want to bleed your concentric beforehand, but with a vacuum you're basically removing the air that's in the cylinder, so there's nothing there, so the brake fluid flows in easily into the slave cylinder. But anyway, that's where I'm going to wrap it up, guys. The video is getting long. That's the long and the short of it. Hopefully this helps someone, and yeah, good luck guys, and drive safe.